Welcome back to the show. News is moving really fast, and because moving is news is moving really fast, I'm trying to keep up. So there's been interesting news that has come out, and this breaks down into two different bits of news. One, Iran is pounding the holy hell out of Israel right now. They're doing so in some respects in the daylight. Apparently, warning sirens in some of these places have not even been going off, meaning they've been hitting them without sirens alerting the Israelis that these poundings have been taking place. And it seems as if, on some level, this is in retaliation, and it is a brutal, withering assault that Israel does not seem to have the ability of air defense to knock that stuff out of the sky. It seems to be hitting their targets. On the second front, the questions that we asked in the previous video, some of those have been answered, and some of those were dead on. So first, I'm trying to figure out where to go to first. Let's go to the strikes first. As I said, Iran has opened up a withering response. And let's go look at some of these responses. In the skies of Jerusalem, they're seeing stuff like this. There's a missile streaking through the sky, unmolested. All right, let's go to the next video. This is Tel Aviv. Whatever is hitting Tel Aviv, it has been leaving marks. Look at that. These are recent, by the way. This has happened over the last, either overnight or now. Look at that. Whew, that's some hot coffee. That coffee is hot. Jesus Christ, that coffee is hot. Let's go to the next one. This has been taking place in Haifa and Tel Aviv, by the way. Here's another one. This one is coming. RT is apparently on the ground. I'm watching this one. It's devastation.
Пиздец.
Somebody sounds like they're out of breath. Wow. Let's go to the next one. There's more. There's plenty more, actually.
זירת ההרס, פה בצפון הארץ, 3 מבנים שנפגעו קשה. היו פה לכודים, לוחמי האש חילצו אותם, הייתה אזעקה נוספת.
Okay, I don't know what he's saying, but apparently the people who are here are effectively saying the coastal city has been fundamentally destroyed. It's just been trashed. There's more. This is taking place in Tel Aviv this morning. Next one.
המפקד אני הססנת פלקפוק, חי בניין, אוהב בניין, הופך לחלוסת בניינים.
Wow. That looks like Gaza, right?
תقدر تكيم الصوت كيمو.
That looks a lot like...
كل عجم كيني رمات أبي. המפקד אני ماشي.
Let's see, what's the next one? Okay. There is another one. Let's go to this one. This was Impact. That took place this morning. I think Professor Morandi showed this one. Yeah, no, man, I'm shocked too. I'm shocked also. That's a hell of a blast. Yeah, man. I think he's hollering for some coffee. Yeah. Yep. That is amazing. I mean, these videos are coming out left and right. Here's another one, just in case you wanted to get another eye view of this. Share this. That's another angle. Wow, indeed. Wow, that's a good cup of coffee. What is this? What kind of coffee is this? These pretzels are making me thirsty. These pretzels are making me thirsty. Indeed. Personally, my favorite response is still that guy who screamed, "What the fuck?" That's my favorite response. That is my favorite response. That guy gave the most accurate response to pretty much anybody. But these videos are coming out back to back to back. Apparently, this is another one that was destroyed by RT. Caught this one. Apparently, the Russian is on the video saying, "Fuck." Let's see if I can show it. Let me see if I can hear him say it. You don't do that on air. It's not supposed to. When the trash can took a hit.
Пиздец.
What the fuck? All right. So, at the very least, what we see is pummeling taking place, rage, indignation, punishing the client for what Papa did. And maybe those strikes were going to come anyway. Who knows? But clearly, the videos that are coming out, they are punishing. I mean, even Haifa has been taking a hit. Let me see if I found the other video for Haifa. Tel Aviv has been getting pummeled. Haifa has been getting pummeled. In fact, there was another video, and maybe I'm missing it, where they hit a command center that was on the roof of a building. Apparently water. Right here. Here's another one. So the water system at Haifa has been wrecked. This is one of their main areas.
איזה קיצון.
The thing went all the way down apparently to the sewer system.
איזה קיצון.
On some level, I suppose this is in part Iran's response. Here's another one. Shout out to DD Geopolitics. They do God's work. This is hitting command center, top of the building. I put too much sugar in my coffee. It's not sweet. I'm drinking. Yeah, that sounds like more. Yeah. Yep. That's what happens. That's what happens, bro. That's what happens. So, that is Israel right now. That is Israel right now. On the second front, the U.S. has entered the war directly. Now, Donald Trump has come out and chest up, said we destroyed, all of these nuclear facilities for them. Ishful, I'm butchering these names. Let me get the names specifically because I'm going to butcher them. And damn it, I didn't even turn monetization on. Let me turn it on now. But effectively, Trump comes out, say he's destroyed all 3 nuclear facilities completely. That, Iran has been set back, all of the stuff that Donald Trump came out with and said. Now, as I pointed out in the last video, that this was nonsense. I was very clear, this was nonsense. And more to the point of this being nonsense, we asked various questions in that last video, because the main question boiled down to, is this an escalatory ladder? Meaning, is the United States doing this with the notion that Iran is going to respond so it can continue back and forth with response in order to get further involved into the war? We asked, why the theatrics? Meaning, if you're going to do a strike and you're using nuclear weapons as a justification for the strike, why are you doing this theatrical strike that is purely superficial? And this is something that was reported on the ground. And even from a bit of logic standpoint, even when the US was analyzing what it would take to go after, let me get a specific name for this place because I'm going to butcher the name if I'm not looking directly at it. But effectively, if you're not going to do an actual strike that is necessary to destroy the nuclear facilities, then why are you doing this theatrical, superficial strike? That was one of the other questions that we effectively asked as we were looking at the events on the ground and analyzing what Donald Trump came out and said. Fordow, Natanz, and Efshan. All right. The other question that was asked, and I think Sparky asked this one, is this getting off of the escalatory ladder? Now, I posed multiple questions in regards to what could potentially happen. And one of the questions that I asked with this is, okay, well, what if Iran responds at parity? You hit us, we hit you. Does the president stop there and get off the escalatory ladder? The secondary part to that was, if we do that, and you get off the ladder, and we continue to hit Israel, then what? Meaning, if the entire point of this is to save Israel, where they're throwing their body on Israel, does the US stop and allow its colony, its client, to continue to get pummeled in the way that you saw it getting pummeled? That is an interesting question, right? So apparently, it is being reported that there were back channel communications where Donald Trump communicated that this was a once-off, that he gave advance notice of the attacks, and in giving advance notice, effectively wanted something similar to the murder of Soleimani, where we attack, you respond, let's say you maybe hit our military bases, equal of lesser value. This is something that I posed before. What if Iran gives parity? They're not trying to get dominance because they don't want to draw the US further into the war. And so what they do is say, okay, we'll hit you at parity and we will allow you to stop because we need to focus on Israel, which is our main opponent in this contest. And then my question was, okay, well, does the US allow that? If the US doesn't allow it and continues to strike, then that means the US wants the escalatory ladder. If the US stops, then it means they don't want an escalatory ladder, which means they want to stop and not get embroiled into a large war in the Middle East. I also posed the question of what is in the president's mind. Is it possible that the president doesn't want a long war, which was the reason for the theatrics, which is, look, we didn't go all in. We hit you theatrically. Yes, we're chest thumping as if we did. But you know the reality of it, that we didn't do it. This was theatrical. So any strike that you do to us should also not go all in and not go beyond a certain point that will force us to respond, because we don't want a larger war in the Middle East. Now, the point that I think I made in the last video was, regardless of what is in the president's mind, the president has no idea how Iran is going to respond to you striking in the heart of Iran and hitting its assets. It doesn't matter if it's theatrical. You've invaded their airspace. You've attacked their assets. You've attacked their country. What is commensurate with that? From our point of view, may be different than yours. The people who are telling Trump that this will be okay may be telling him this will be okay, with the entire point of getting Donald Trump on an escalatory ladder. I hope you get my point. Regardless of what is in his mind, he has no idea how Iran is going to respond. When they murdered Soleimani was not in Iran, but you've just hit Iranian territory. not an embassy, Iranian territory proper. You've destroyed assets. No, you might not have destroyed their bases. You might not have gotten the nuclear material. You might not have gotten any of that stuff. That is irrelevant to the point. What is parity in that regard? Right? And isn't parity on some level subjective? And if somebody told the president they're not going to respond, or they will respond with equal and lesser value, in which case Trump says, okay, I can tolerate that. What is equal and lesser value from the perspective of the victim in this? The rapist thinks to themselves, okay, you could do something back to me. And the person who was raped says, I want to take your balls off. And the rapist says, whoa, that's too far. The rape victim doesn't think it's too far. I hope you get my point. They're assuming parity, as if parity is something that both of us agree upon. They're assuming parity as if Iran will be okay with the United States invading and attacking the country. They don't know that. It doesn't matter if Donald Trump wants something. Babies and children want all sorts of things. Oftentimes they want to touch the stove, not realizing that it's hot. I'm saying that Iran may take you up on that. They may accept, okay, we'll do parity. And we're going to continue to focus and pound the shit out of Israel. Is that acceptable to Trump? I hope you get my point. All of these are fascinating questions that we don't really have answers to. It doesn't really matter what Trump wants. How does Iran respond? Is the definitive question in this that we don't entirely know. And secondary to the point, if Iran responds with parity, Trump is okay with it, but they continue to pound Israel, knowing full well that Israel air defense is diminishing, their capability of responding is diminishing. Does the U.S. get further involved to protect its client? This is the article that came out. Iran given advance notice as U.S. insisted attacks on nuclear sites is a one-off. We don't want a larger war. That's what that means. We want theatrics. We want to, basically, I talked myself into a corner to such a degree that I have to do something. But I don't want to start a larger war in the Middle East. That's not what I want. That's not within our capacity to do. That's not what I want. It will be dramatically unpopular at home. Having body bags come back would not necessarily be good for my presidency. But I was blustering to such a degree for 3 months that now I need to do something. Help me save face in my country by allowing this theatrical display of military force. That's assuming you believe them even, right? The US President Donald Trump says 3 key nuclear facilities in Iran have been obliterated. I want you to be able to see it for yourself. While threatening more strikes, if peace does not come quickly, this comes as AMWJ, Amwaj media has learned that Washington notified Tehran of the strikes. Speaking on condition of anonymity, a high-ranking Iranian political source confirmed that Trump administration on June 21st conveyed that it did not seek an all-out confrontation and only intended to strike Fordow, Ifshan, Natanz nuclear sites. Importantly, the senior source also confirmed that the targeted sites were evacuated with, quote, most of Iran's stockpile of enriched uranium kept in a secure location. Theater. It was all theater. All right, you got your theater. They want something like Soleimani. And this also explains why they evacuated some of the military locations. I imagine with the idea that if Iran strikes those, nobody gets hurt. Structural damage. Everybody says fair game. Again, though, you're stuck with a problem. Your client is getting pummeled. What do you do about that? And do you find some other reason or justification to get involved? I mean, Donald Trump said, hey, if there's not peace, then we're going to do more strikes. Okay. So you telling them it's once off while simultaneously saying we're going to do more strikes if you don't make peace. Okay, what if they don't make peace? They're pummeling them today. They're hitting them hard, daytime. What do you do? What do you do? What if they're not scared of you in the way that you think they are? Meaning, what if they do hit you and you reach a parity and they keep attacking Israel? Then what? Then what? Do you do more strikes? And do they hit you again? At what point does this not become theater? Trump needs to really consider that. China will be helping Iran. They will be giving them all the weapons and materials that they need. In fact, I want to show one last thing before I close it. There's an analyst that covers Chinese media, and she made this point about a weapon system that Iran is using that is specifically related to China's, let's say, helping and assisting Iran in using it. Right here, this. This missile that looks like a sperm cell, it just does. Beautiful when you look at it, right? This is called a Seiji missile, fired for the first time. She points out, she says, China gave Iran a lifeline. Without Beidou, Iran might have surrendered. Well, I don't know about that. Beneath the smoke-filled night sky, an Iranian missile streaked through the darkness and slammed directly into the Israeli Ministry of Defense's command center. The explosion instantly cut surveillance feeds. Shockwaves rippled through the nearby neighborhoods, shaking buildings across several kilometers. Meanwhile, in Tehran command room, Iranian technicians monitor a Beidou navigation terminal as the coordinates updated in real time. The missile hit with surgical precision. On screen, the hit probability curve spiked, marking turning point. Iran had entered the age of precision warfare. Her point is, it was Chinese assistance that allowed Iran that military capability in a way that they may not have had it on their own. They're not alone. They're not alone. China may not be bringing in military force, but they're obviously not going to let Iran fall without putting up a hell of a fight before it does. And if Trump really does indeed not have an appetite for a long Middle East war, then what is he doing? I'll end it here. I didn't want to keep us for long. I just want to, give an update on what's taking place